Hey guys, welcome to an exciting episode of All About You. I have the match that you guys been waiting for. This is the red, blue, green Android 17 build that I showed you guys previously on the last video. And now you guys get to see it in action, which many of you have asked me, Anthony, let's see how you play with this deck. We love the deck. It looks a little complex. How do you utilize the cards to the fullest potential? And here it is. So I start off by playing a Cell, the 3-drop as energy, and I pass my turn. You know, this deck, you just want to play easygoing. You know, you don't want to overextend. You don't want to do much. You just want the game to kind of gravitate to your advantage. And you're utilizing the Android cards to put pressure on your opponent without giving much. So right now, my opponent TK is using a Frieza. It is a blue, green, yellow deck, I believe. It has part yellow. He attacks. He's attacking me because he wants to get me in that uneven life, which I have spoken about before, so that I can't just TN easily and be at 4 life if I want to go all the way down to 4, or if I hit it off, I'm not going to be able to go down to 6. So going on my turn, I play Kaba for Kaba. With androids, you just got to be patient. It's easy to awaken. Right now, I'm already at a perfect 6 life. The great thing about androids is that they awaken at 6 life, which I have said this plenty of times. So as you can see, now I'm awakening right during the combo step. But at this point, I'm not going to commit any cards, because if he takes a double strike, it doesn't really matter to me, you know? So at this point, he takes another damage. He's now at 5. I'm already helping him awaken, but at the same cost I awaken myself, which I already got a little lead start. So now he needs to, as the Frieza leader, play a card that can self-awaken, like Objection. It's going to take a life and then place down an energy. That card is amazing with Frieza. You know, I may have said Objection is bad in the past, but it's because of how people utilize the card. But in Frieza, it's definitely a grandeur of a card. So right now, TK is just going through the motions, attacking my Kaba, getting rid of a threat. Because since the androids can awaken so early, Kaba becomes even more of a threat. Which that's something that you guys have to remember. I place another Cell piece as energy, which you'll notice that happens very often. Anyone running the Cell engine, whether it's Cell or androids, you got to realize that the Cell engine is going to pop up in your hand very often. So now I drop Cell, and I am getting ready for some pretty fun stuff to come by. See, right there, I'm just setting up my board, which is extremely good. Now I'm just going to go all the way to the 7th form, or more like the 3rd form, final form. See, at this point, my opponent may have the Cold Bloodlust, but it doesn't really matter, because the way this deck is utilized, it plays more for the androids than the actual Cell engine. So right now, TK does have the Cold Bloodlust. He can't afford to get hit by that. That's practically almost game if he actually would have gotten hit. But I'm still in control. I get a free nice draw. Easy peasy. Putting as much pressure as I can. So now he's guarding up. And that was a successful turn for me. You see, right now I was able to tap out because I'm at 6 life. Androids, again, amazing, because they allow you to do a whole lot at the cost of very little commitment. They're definitely one of the strongest leaders in the game. I can easily say they place in the top 4, you know, but I'll actually have a video up about the placement of leaders, and you know, so you guys can be more informed. But at this point, Mecha Frieza attacks right into my lead. He plays Kale. Now, I'm gonna say right off the rip, this was not a good play. He made a misplay. He actually thought his Kale was gonna kill myself for some reason. So you can see us kind of like laughing. You know, we take a little moment of silence or a pause right there. So at this point, you know, he could have done that whole play a little better or more effectively. He could have swung out with the Frieza and try to knock down a life and then hit me with the Kale. So he would have gotten more value out of it, but you know, he may have just wanted to not give me any resources to hand, which is totally fine. It's just that that error was pretty crucial. Now, my turn. I get rid of the final form. Notice I've been upgrading for the green energy. It's pretty fun. Still being able to attack him. I'm still a 10k leader, you know, so I have to do my thing. Now I TN. So now I'm hitting 20k. You know, so he has the option to guard or take it. I believe at this point he takes it because he's tapped out, and he would have to now commit something really good. Now I have TN. I'm at 5 life. He's at 3 life. At this point, my logic is, let's get rid of that Kale. But before we do that, swing right into leader. See what he has to do. Now he's tapped out. I could have forced the play and made him take the damage, to be honest, but no combos. He has to get rid of 20k out of his hand to be good. That's a lot of commitment, guys. A 30k got a beater saying, hey, take 20k. Now, had my hand been busted, I could have swung out with the TN, put enough pressure, then swing out with the 20k. But then at that point, if TK noticed that I was going for game, he could be able to Sensu Beam for free or Whis Coercion for free and go down on 1 life and still safeguard himself. That's why it's never good to go all out. Play, you know, pace the game, especially when you don't have time, and even if it is, you know, the game won't take too long. So at this point, he guarded up. I'm like, you know what, Tien Shinhan, Tri-Beam. Ah, come on. I guess I'm contemplating at that point. Tri-Beam. Ah. But, you know, very well played out. Nice and passive. Passed my turn. You know, so I'm still maintaining control of this game despite the matchup, because this is, I can tell you, one of the worst matchups. Frieza being able to just bloodlust stops a lot of the pieces, and the pieces don't really do much. So now he's attacking with his leader. Now I'm at 3 life, so at this point it's like, hey, he doesn't mind attacking my leader. Doesn't matter about giving me resources or not. It's now it's all about trying to see if he can win the game. Easy guard. Now he's deciding what he will do. He ended his turn. Now this, you know, gives me a big advantage. Notice that he didn't play anything that turn. and I'm not too sure what was in his hand, but apparently it wasn't that good. Not playing anything and not really putting much pressure on your opponent allows your opponent to really go all out and put pressure on you. Always remember that, guys. You don't want to be in a situation where your opponent is the one really dictating the pace of the game, and by him not playing any battle, that kind of hurt him. So at this point, I get to do my thing, and I have a lot of room for pressure at this point. So he beans up, doesn't use his effect to pay, which there wouldn't be any use at this point. No need to do my job for me. So again, patience, guys. That's how you have to play this game. Make sure that your plays are as efficient as possible, and never get intimidated when you are playing in terms of time. You got to be mindful of the time, but at the same token, pace yourself. You want to make sure you get the best plays out of what you can do. So right now, I paid 4 for an Android 18 that's hitting 25k, that says double strike, get rid of a card out of your hand. She's a monster. I know. She does a lot of work. So now he's making a decision. It's not easy. I can tell you that much. It's definitely not easy when you got a 25k double strike telling you to discard a card out of your hand. Android 18 is one of my favorite cards. So is Android 17. I love the Androids. This is one of my fun decks, and it's competitive enough to compete with the best decks out there. So I fished out a Bloodlust out of his hand. That's amazing. Anytime you can get rid of those Bloodlusts out of your opponent's hand, by any means, it's great. You see them charge it, you see them discard it, utilize it for effects. It's amazing. He's just going to guard up. Now notice, for some reason, this game he didn't have enough coercions or nothing, so this is pretty unfortunate for him. He got some value right now out of the Friezas, getting free drops, but overall it still wasn't in his benefit. So just be mindful of that, guys. Be very mindful. So now I'm just analyzing the situation, and it should be his turn at that point. I should be passing along. Oh, okay. So I go in for a TN attack. So at this point, getting rid of yeah, that was actually pretty good. I tapped out, which that could be dangerous, but I believe my hand was pretty strong, which is why I tapped out. You see, right now, Sun Goten, that's a very good card. It's decent this format. I actually had him burn a Sensu Bean, guys. Very effective, very strong. Tien did his job. If you could burn a Sensu Bean, that must have been like one of the only 5Ks in his hand at the time. But I guess he saw it as apparent to keep it alive. Now you gotta be mindful, I am at 3 life, so right now he's probably looking at the situation like, yes, he tapped out, let me try to go in for game. Little does he know, my hand is relatively strong for me making that play. But he attacks my TN, which is very interesting with the Frieza lead. I was very shocked by this. At this point, I'm at 3 life. All of his attacks should have been directed at my leader, but maybe he figured he wouldn't game me. And he was correct in that, but it's still good to make me burn cards, not having to let go cards that easily. You know, now I read this play, I felt like he was going to play a Kale from his hand. I read that when we were playing, because when you play someone often, as you can see, he just dropped Kale. When you play people often, you usually end up figuring out like their style of play, and that goes for a lot of people, you know. So now he knew he wasn't gonna game me, just based on us playing. He knows if I tap out, odds are like my whole hand is like combo-rific, or majority of my hand is. But you know, still effective nonetheless. But when you are playing against an opponent that you don't know, you may want to focus on that leader. Now I place a blue energy. Kind of came a little late. The deck runs very smooth, but I can say out of majority of the time playing with it, and I have gotten at least a good 15 to 20 games with it, it does, I would say like a good 15% of those games, the blue energy is a little tough to get out, because even though it's tutorable, sometimes you don't draw the pieces, or sometimes you're not in a good game state to drop pieces that can search. So just always be mindful of that. But nonetheless, it's still fine. See, now at this point, I'm now, you know, getting ready to go for the scooperific moments. And then now, searching for my 10k boost and whatever cards I can. So it looks like I failed, missed target, except for getting the 10k. Now at this point, I can tell that TK has a coercion, something to stop my attack. It just wouldn't make any sense to take a damage knowing that my cell can go in. So that was obviously a readable play. You know, but not always your opponent's going to have it. Obviously at that point, you would have to be extremely bad, or may I say inexperienced, so I don't hurt no feelings. But, you know, very, very good on his part. Now, he's in a situation, being at 2 life, lethal, especially when you have a cell that's been out for the longest out on the board. God forbid I would have played another cell and had 2 of those bad boys out, but it's a situation where it's not comfortable. It's by far very uncomfortable, to say the least. So he's going to be in a point in the game where he's going to have to go all out. And I have plenty of energy open. I have 4 energy open and 1 blue energy, which means I can beam up. I can use huys coercion if I ran it. You know, I would be able to, I have a lot of flexibility at this point. Which, guys, I may want to add, the deck list that you saw, the deck profile, it doesn't run any negates. Now, I play in a very unorthodox way. I have my own play style. Please, run your negates. If you feel comfortable with them, play them. My list is a guideline. It's not the end-all be-all. I tell players this. You got to play with what you're comfortable with. That's why a lot of people, you know, they'll ask for deck list, especially on the Facebook group. If you guys don't know about it, it's a really nice, huge group. I'll probably leave the link in the description so you guys can join in if you haven't been a part of it. But again, just play with what you're comfortable with. So at this point, he's attacking. He comboed. He's 30k. He's trying to get me down to 2 life in a slick manner. I'm like, no, bro. I'm going to combo that 35. If I do take a hit, it's definitely not going to be a crit at this point. If worse came to worse and I had to take a hit, it won't be crit. So, you know, you just got to establish a certain way of playing. That's what I like to tell players. So he's now attacking with the leader. He is, in this point in the game, trying to seal it. I can just tell on how he's playing. He's trying to see how much can he combo so that he can force me to take hits. But in this, sadly, in this predicament, I still have 4 energy open. It's not in his, 3 energy open. It's not in his best interest. Now, at this point, he doesn't know that I have the Sensu Beam because I didn't get to use it because there was no need. So, he is just deciding on what to do. You know, that was the easy 5k guard for me. Now he's dropping Go Tanks. Go Tanks is a monster, guys. Don't ever forget that. He is one of the best, if not the best. Don't ever forget that. Now he's swinging right into my leader. See, at this point, I could have taken the hit, but he's going for the Sensu Beam play, which I'm pretty sure he's just going to gain 1 more card to life and renew 2 energy. Again, this is final turn for him. So he's pulling all the stops. He's trying to gain me. Now, me taking a hit like that would not be the smartest thing because I already see where he's going. You know, he's trying to scoop my shit up. So I gotta prepare for the worst and hope for the best. But now he's only hitting me for 35, I believe. I think he just passed on to me. So if I guard this, it's pretty much GG's. You know, I mean, there's really no way he's gonna hit me for another single strike at that point. You know, but I think I looked at my hand and I might end up taking the 2 hits. Because I'm like, hey, you only have 4 energy left open. You might be able to drop a card that has double strike like a Gohan, but you would have to tap out for that. So how much can you possibly combo tapped out? And if you drop a single strike, it's like, what's the worst number you can hit? You know, so you always got to add the numbers in your head, have an idea of what your opponent can play, and then, you know, go from there. Like, I looked at my hand and I'm like, I'll take it. You know, it's like, why not take it at this point? And I believe I also commented him. I'm like, I don't need to take it. And I believe I told him that. But I will take it. I'll entertain the thought of you trying to scoop me up. You know, if you did, that would be amazing. Because I believe at that point I had like 80k in my hand. If I do recall correctly, I had about like 80k to combo out with. So he drops the Go Tanks, the other Go Tanks, and he's gonna try to do some damage. You know, obviously he doesn't have a Sensu Beam, or he would have kept the blue open. I have to chuck a card. I chuck practically a useless card at this situation. He's gonna Dodoria me. You know, now again, if I wasn't paying attention to him, I would have probably been like, oh my god, he's gonna combo so much. But you know, as you pay attention to gameplay, you keep track of how many 10Ks your opponent used, how many Sensu Beams your opponent used, how many other cards they use. So right now he's only hitting 45k. Nothing threatening, and that's all he got. And I'm like, light work. I had about 80k. So, you know, if you have 80k, you good. See? You know, it's easy. Easy peasy. I'm already 25, 35, 40. All I need is another 10k. 10k and I live. Well, as you can see, I was able to maintain advantage in this game. And at this point, TK gave a good, valiant fight. Guys, always remember to pace yourself, utilize all your resources, and make sure you play your game. Thank you for watching. And as always, this channel is all about you.